10 Minutes to Joy is your weekly invitation to reset, recharge, and rediscover your most joyful self through aha moments and simple energy techniques. You're listening to holistic psychotherapist Sylvia Plester-Silk. I've worked with individuals, couples, and groups. From parole officer to private practice, I've learned many a lesson, and I'm ready to share. Let us talk about gift giving. We are in the season of gift giving for many, many traditions, not just the Christian way of being. And this morning, I want to talk to you about a different way to think about gifting one another. Many years ago, I read a book called The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It was recommended, I think, when my husband Mark and I were in marriage therapy at one point. And I think this is a very interesting way to look at gift giving. And it might free up some of your energy and time and reduce some stress this Christmas season or this festive season. So, his five love languages, only one of the five. So, if we said that 20% of people were in each category, only about 20% feel filled up and loved by receiving gifts. So while you're out there this season running around trying to find that perfect gift for people, I invite you to consider the following. What if, instead of a gift, a lovely note with words of why you really appreciate or love them? Because that will fill up somebody whose love language is words of affirmation. They feel filled up and loved and cared for, and it's one of the most beautiful gifts when they receive accolades, words of affirmation. So simply getting out a blank card and letting them know why you truly, truly appreciate them will be better than the most precious, expensive gift that you might buy. Another category that he talks about is acts of service. And a good hint at which category somebody's in is how they treat you. So my husband is clearly acts of service that fills him up because he will think about my oil changes and have them done for me. He will clean my car off for me often. He'll go and get me gas when the weather's crappy. And while I appreciate it, it's not my number one love language. Please don't tell him that because I still like that he does those things. In any event, I get off topic here. So if you've got somebody who's always doing acts of service for you, doing some sort of act of service. So that might be arranging to pay for some service for, 3 months or a one-time thing. It may be making them a meal and dropping it off so that they don't have to make meals because they're really busy. Think about what act would make their life a little easier, a little less stress. Maybe they love your cookies that you make in a particular flavor, and you can drop off a bunch of cookies so they don't even have to make Christmas cookies because maybe they don't even enjoy baking. Of course, we all need lots of sweets to make it festive, right? Not really. Then we get into the receiving gift people, and these are the people that gift you often. They're very generous when it comes to gifting. And those people are the ones that you're going to want to probably pick something up for. And so think about, for them, what do they enjoy? What do they comment about? What gifts have they got that they really liked? What are the habits that they have? What services maybe do they use? And maybe you can get gifts around those sorts of things so that they're actually receiving something physical. And if you're giving them a gift card, you're going to want to probably put it in a box or in a lovely enclosed in a lovely card as well, so it feels more of a gift. Then there's the folks that love quality time and they filled up when you sit with them and you visit with them and connect with them and spend quality time with them. So simply making time for them over the holidays is all that they want. My recent birthday, I asked my friends not to get gifts for me, but instead to actually just come and hang out with me for the afternoon. We hung out. It was fabulous. I felt filled up and it was lovely. I don't know if they'd bought me a gift, if it would have meant near as much to me. I don't think it would have. So thinking, okay, and then the fifth one is physical touch. This one gets a bit dicey because physical touch without permission is never okay. But if you have the relationship and it's reciprocal, giving them a really great hug might fill them up more than getting a gift. The act of physical touch, maybe touching their back when they're talking about something or touching their hand as they're talking about something, will fill them up much more than receiving a gift. So let's reevaluate how we do our holiday seasons. Instead of running around for gifts for people that are going to somewhat appreciate them because we should have gifts under the tree, or we should be giving gifts as part of a tradition. Maybe that's not good enough for us anymore. And maybe that, given a lot of financial constraints this year, isn't realistic for folks. So, what if we just stopped that and stopped this rush of going out and spending money that we don't have in our bank accounts to try and make other people happy? Because it's often making you miserable. And we've talked about energy here so many times. And what is the energy that I'm giving this gift with? So if I went out and I ran and I grabbed something quickly and I was feeling grumpy when I did it, there's a risk that that energy is going to transpire into that gift and be experienced differently. Versus I'm making cookies because I love to bake and I know that you love to eat and you don't love to bake. So I'm going to bake you a bunch of cookies. I know that you get really cold, so I'm going to make you a scarf if you knit or crochet or whatever else you might do. Weave, I suppose. Right? So start to think, okay, now, one of the challenging parts with love languages is we're often blinded by our own. So we think that if physical touch, for example, is our love language, we think touching other people might be the love language. I know a number of friends that if you got them a certificate for a massage, they would be unhappy because they don't like to be touched. So I'm not trying to overcomplicate or make it even more stressful for you. But if you're wondering, what is my love language? Because it's really important in relationships if we can tell other people our love language so that we get our needs met. But so Dr. Gary Chapman wrote The Five Love Languages back, I think, in the 90s, maybe. Feels like it was quite a while ago that I read it. It's still available. But if you don't want to read the whole book, there are a number of free questionnaires that don't take a long time to answer on the internet where you can get your what your love language is and understand your love language. And I think as you start to have those questions answered and you're making the choices around the question, you can start to recognize, oh, Jamie is definitely an acts of service person. Bob loves words of affirmation. He gets filled up and he talks about when somebody said something complimentary to him. Susan, however, really loves to receive gifts. So I'm going to make the effort with a gift, a physical gift for her. Or is it quality time? And I'm going to make time to be at dinner with her or have a lunch with her or a coffee or a tea. And I'm going to put aside and shut off my phone for that time so that 100% of that time I'm engaged in connecting with her. So I'm hoping that in this discussion, I've talked about some different ways to gift give that reduce your stress and cause you to spend less money this year and have a more enjoyable festive season. That's a wrap for today. Small moments create big changes. Keep growing, keep shining, and I'll see you next Friday on 10 Minutes to Joy.